morning, good morning, good morning. All right. Let's wait for everybody to get in here, and then we'll get it popping. At least we're not gapping down this morning, huh? At least we are not sold off today. All right. Darren, good morning. Zaffron, good morning. Huda, how do we join your Discord? I think if you got this link, you're probably already in Discord. But you can send me a direct message and then I can guide you with any questions you have. Franco, good morning. Carlos, good morning. Mackenzie, good morning. Santos, good morning. Ed, good morning. Glacial Fox, good morning. Wendy, good morning. Oscar, good morning. Nice. All right. So it's 8:30. Probably gonna wait till around 8:35 before we get started. There's Brand's performance. Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? Yeah, good morning. G5, my man. What's going on? Bright and early. Let's wait till 8:35. I believe there's some numbers that came out just now. Let me take a look. I think jobless claims came out. The jobless claims numbers are up slightly, which is not too bad. All right. Good morning, Zaffron. Salam. Good morning. Edgar, good morning, Zahab. Let's make some trendies. Beepin, good morning. Robert, good morning. Mary, good morning. Abu, LTC, is that Litecoin? Robert, good morning. Joshua, good morning. Love the Discord. Thanks for always helping everyone. G5, my man, no worries. Appreciate you being there. For those of you that are here, go ahead and smash that like button. We're going to get started in about 3 minutes here. Going to wait till 8:35. And then we will get going. Nice little push here in the market. But yeah, 8:35, we'll get it going, and then we'll jump right into it. And hopefully you guys woke up with your portfolios not as bad as it was on Monday, or Tuesday, I should say. Nice little run up with Neo. Tesla back at the 575 area. Apple getting some juice pre-market here. Not bad. Not bad at all. Brands. You the man, brother. Georgie Matthew, smash the like button. Yes, go ahead and smash the like button. Vikas, good morning. Bishnu, good morning. Fuhad, I hate Elon. Bainud Basal, good morning. Leah, good morning. Nice. So we got a pretty decent show out here. Wait one more minute and then we'll get into it. We'll talk about the SPY. We'll talk about what's moving. And yeah, all right. So Let's see, almost 8:35. Gonna wait one more minute or a few seconds here, and then we'll get right into it. Zarfan, love your Discord, my man. I appreciate it. All right, so it's 8:35. We got about 40 people in here. Again, I would appreciate it if you guys can just smash that like button. For whatever reason, it helps with the YouTube videos. All right, but with that said, let's get right into it. Okay, obviously, you know, we had the SPY push up. Look where we bounced, 50 moving average. I talk about these moving averages all the time, so it's nothing new. It shouldn't be anything new to you guys. Again, yesterday we pulled it down. We gapped down actually on that 50-day moving average. And look, we pushed back up to it. Obviously trying to close that gap today to that 412, and we'll see where we end up on it. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking me, what do my charts look like? Like, how do I come up with these levels and these lines? Okay, so I'm gonna show you. For YouTube purposes, I have the lines taken out. Okay, but this is what my SPY chart looks like, right? I don't want to put these on the charts while I'm talking to you guys because it's just overwhelming and it can confuse you guys. Now, with that said, when I zoom into the 5-minute chart, things start clearing up a little bit, right? And I don't get rid of these lines. I have them there. I might go back and make some adjustments, but again, these are levels that I'm constantly looking at, okay? So for example, today, okay, the game plan is, you know, the SPY is stuck between this 408.60 and this 411 area, okay? In order for us to really come out of this range, we need to either get above this 410, 411 area, 412, right, to the 412. This 412 area is going to be an area that we had some resistance back here. It acted as support pre-market. It acted as support and resistance here. So once we get above this 411 area, this 412 area is going to be the next area that I'm really watching. Okay, what's going to happen here? Are we going to break above this and push up and kind of fill this a little bit of a hollow space right here, right? We have some price action, but not much, okay? So if we get above that, we can really see the 414, right? Now, on the downside, if we lose this 408.60, we could come down back to the 407. I think this is a volume profile here. I'll come back to the 407 and ultimately the 405.16, okay? This was a sneaky level. I missed out on this yesterday. I didn't have this, but this came from the daily candles right here. So I'll show you right here. These two candles right here, or was it these two candles right here? This is where the support came from, the 405. So yesterday that level acted as support, and we can't disregard that, right? This area right here, the 405.20, 405.16 area is another level we need to watch, and then ultimately the 403. Okay, now going back to the QQQs. Right, my QQQ charts ultimately are just as congested, right? But again, if I need to, I simply go clean. Well, this is not really clean, but I usually have this all clear set here. This is what I look at, right? I have two types of drawing sets on my TOS. I have what I'm usually just drawing on, and I also have the clean version, just so I can get a look of what's going on without having my lines on the chart, right? That way it gives me an idea of what's really going on under all these lines that I'm drawing, okay? But again, going back to the 5-minute chart, look at where we bounced the Qs, right? The 320.60, and we have some resistance right here at the 322, 323 area, but ultimately that 324 is what I'm really watching right here, okay? If we can get above that 324, it does open us up back to the 326, 327 area. But if we lose that 320, we can come down right to that 316, which we were at. Perfect support yesterday, pre-market, and then we just kind of took off here, right? So yesterday, obviously, tech was a lot stronger. We can see by the QQQ. despite what really went on in the market. The tech sector seemed to have performed well in retrospect to what was really going on in the market, right? So take note of this move up right here. And now let's take a look at the SPY chart. SPY, again, I guess very similar as well, but most names were kind of going sideways yesterday, right? And then here we are again right now trying to test that 411 area. We'll see what happens, okay? Now, as far as some names to kind of watch going into today, obviously Tesla being one of them. We came up to this 574, 575 area, which is what I'm watching. We'll see what it does here. If it can break back above this, we could see this come back up to the 580, 590 area on Tesla. Another one that's been making movements is SPCE. Unfortunately, I'm not happy with this. I'm not so much that I'm not happy with this move. I think the news is garbage. They came out with what was the news? They've announced a test flight. Okay, so what does a test flight have to do with anything in increasing stock price? Okay, so be really careful on the long side with this one. It might pop up to the 2290 area, but ultimately I'm a little bearish on this. I don't think coming out with, oh guys, so on Monday I'm gonna go buy shoes, so just get excited. That's ultimately what this is saying. So we've announced that we're gonna have a test flight. A test flight in no way should it appreciate a stock's value. Another one that obviously I'm watching is Cisco. So Cisco, that 49.37 area is kind of support. They had earnings, not the greatest, and we're sitting at that 49.37 area as support. Ultimately, we could pop back to this 50, maybe 51 area before rolling over, okay? And of course, KSS, unfortunately, they didn't do well in their earnings, and investors just dumped their shares, okay? So $55 is a support, retracted, held above this. We'll see what it does at these levels right here, okay? Now, while I'm kind of going over this, I guess you guys can throw me some tickers to look at, and then when you guys do, I'll go over them as well and tell you guys, or ask me what you guys want to do, and we can go over that as well. All right. Next one I'm looking at is NTES. Just some upgrades on this one. Nothing much, but over that 116, 117 area, it could be a little bit interesting. So keeping it on watch here and gonna see what it does. And what's the next one? PLC is another one that had earnings today. Okay, so back above that 97 area, 85.80 was a support on it. 97.20 area is a nice area of resistance that it's breaking out of. If it can hold above this, we can ultimately see a little bit of a higher move. Let's look at the daily on it. Obviously, that 97.20 area, the 97.17 is the prior high right here on this day. So lots of sideways consolidation. Broke above 3 days ago with above average volume, came back, retested this pivot high, and now here we are. Okay, so this breakout right here and this retest was a great entry, but because they had earnings, had to keep this away on the watch list. All right. So somebody's asking about Coty. Coty was a great chart. It's been relatively strong given the market conditions, and nice move. Nice. It held the moving averages. It continued to hold the moving average, but here we're at a little iffy spot right now. We're in an iffy spot because we have lost the 20 and the 50 moving average. We're kind of sitting at that vital area. Okay, this 850, 840 area. If it loses that, then it can ultimately try and come down to the 780, and then right here at the $7. Okay, under the moving averages. Currently no short-term trade on it, looking like a bear flag forming right here. Under that 730 area, we could fall to 785 and then ultimately 718 before seeing any sort of bounce, maybe even towards the 200-day moving average. All right, that's Coty. NVDA, I believe NVDA got an upgrade today with a 700 price target, currently sitting at 570 pre-market. Again, very range bound. We can clearly see, this box right here, and this box right here. Anytime we pop up, we come down, we pop up, we come down, pop up, come down. So this is very range bound right now. Okay, it's at 570 right now. You're gonna have some resistance at the 577, and then ultimately the 589. Too choppy of a chart for me to swing this. Maybe if you want to kind of take this above the 576 in hopes to make a move towards the 589, maybe the 59600 area, but ultimately there's just too much range bound movements for me here, and even when it breaks above it, it fails to maintain this. Now this is those back sometime, right? Where this is going back to the August 2020, and here we are, May 2021, and we're still stuck in this range on NVDA. Ford, I know Ford had some news over the weekend about some their electrical truck. It's right now it's fighting the moving averages, I think, right? So pretty good strong chart up till today, and it's putting in some sort of sideways channel here. If it can get back above this 1215 1260 area, it could possibly retest the highs right here at the 13. But I don't have a clear setup. You're maybe the only thing you can really do here is have entries at around $12, stops at 11, a 1 point stop, in hopes to kind of make that $1, $1.50, and then see where it heads from there. All right, but ultimately sideways channel right here. If we can break above it and kind of hold, we could see a move higher. Probably will take around maybe 2 weeks or so to get there. All right, that's Ford. BLNK, I know this chart it's bouncing off the 200-day moving average. Again, the 20 and the 50 is acting as resistance on this. Every single chart that's like this kind of needs to start getting its shit together, right? We are at the 200-day moving average. We are now pinched above the 20 and the 50. We need to see it show its face. We want it to get back above the 20 and the 50-day moving average, right? NEO kind of did the same thing, where it was bouncing and then it hit the 20 to 50-day moving average, and then it got pinched between it, and now we're under it. However, BLNK is still kind of above the 200-day moving average, but we need to really see what it's going to do. If you want to go long, there's really no short term in it. It's got to be a longer term play, maybe start scaling in around these prices, and then ultimately if it does come down to that 18 area, you can kind of add some more with your last add towards 12. Okay, so again, more of a longer term idea there. Twitter. So Twitter is sitting at around 53.25 pre-market. This gap down right here is pretty wild, right? So ultimately, I would have this on watch. Maybe set alerts at around 57.60. I wouldn't touch it as far as a swing trade or a short-term trade goes. I would put an alert at around 57.60, see if it can get above this, and if it can get above this, you could try to fill that gap from 57 to 63. That would be the really only time there that it would be worth holding it maybe for a few days or so. All right, but ultimately right now, no short-term trade in it. Don't see a pattern. A gap down, selling pressure increased. Not something I would hold short-term, possibly for a day trade maybe, but not in the short term or the medium term. Where are we at here? So Piton, let's take a look at Piton. So Piton, another chart here. It's sold off obviously, and significant sell-off. We can see that with this big volume right here, right? I think this was the day that they announced, they're discontinuing their products for that incident that they had. Massive selling. We can see that prices moving up on decreasing volume. It's starting to, find some topping here. Ideally, what I'm looking for on this name is for it to continue to roll over and find some basing at around 80 before continuing higher. Okay, it should come out of this hurdle it's in, that $80, that 78 area. should be a level that it holds. But in the short term, I do expect this thing to kind of reject the 20-day moving average, or at least the 50-day moving average, and then roll over. And again, in the short term, if you want to go long, I wouldn't do it here. Again, looking more bearish than anything, under the moving averages, under the 200-day moving average. In the short term, I don't see a trade in it. It would definitely have to be something that you would start a position in for a longer term trade. OLN. Who's asking about OLN? Let's see. I saw OLN just now. Am I seeing things? I sure I saw. Oh, Edgar. Yeah, OLN. Still respecting 20-day moving average. Very, very well respected the 20-day moving average in the past. So, still working. There's really nothing wrong with it right now. If it pops back up above that 47.12, has room to move towards that 55 area. Again, there's no issue right now. SNDL. Jesus, people are still holding this thing. It's coming down. It's hitting that 200-day moving average and really needs to decide what it wants to do. It loses this 200-day moving average, it's going to open it up towards that 45. And then if it loses that, it's going back to the 20s, which is not ideal. So right now, it needs to hold that 200-day moving average. All right, let's see. OCGN. I know a lot of people are in love with this name for whatever reason, but OCGN holding that 820, 750 area. Again, to me, this looks a little bearish, but these things come out with, news every other day to get their, get people to short cover their stock. So currently, if you want to trade this on the long side, again, I would only day trade this. It doesn't have much for me to kind of trade or swing trade. There's no real pattern here. If you want to trade this, you can enter now. Stops at 750 for a target of around 860 if it does pop there. But again, ultimately not something that I would trade in the short term. APPS. I really like this. I really like this name. I like the name. I like their past earnings have been great. This 200-day moving average is a great area to start a position on them. But again, currently in the short term, it's under the moving averages. So anything for a short-term trade, I wouldn't be fond of doing. When it's under the moving averages, your only hope is either short it when it pops to the 20 and the 50, or be miraculously lucky enough to, when it pulls down and it gets extended from the 20 and the 50, to go long in hopes for you to hit that 20 and the 50 area. But to me, that's like catching a falling knife, and that's not something I want to trade, right? So the day that it hit this area right here, the 200-day moving average, was probably the only day that you had a moving average support that you could have tried this on the long side to see if it would make it back up to the 20-day moving average. On that day, it did move quite a bit, but again, didn't really pop back up to the 20-day moving average, and we're still kind of sitting right here under that 6150 area. Okay, so again, no short term, because under the moving averages needs to be a little bit of a longer term trade. Start to scale and slowly have room to come down. Worst case scenario, at least 39. Thanks on Ford, no problem. If a bag holder stock price is above the volume profile shelf, does that mean it's ready for a swing? Got rid of bag holders. It really depends. It depends on what chart you're looking at. It depends on what the name is. So for example, let's take a look at AMC. Okay. For a stock that I've rarely traded, I have a lot of lines on here. Give me 1 second. Create drawing set blank. I can't spell apparently. Okay, so let's pull up the volume profile on here. Edit studies. All right, apply. Okay, so the volume point of control right here is around that 1158 area. Okay, so we came up to it, we rejected that right here. This line right here, you can't see it, but it's very faint. It's a volume point of control. And this area right here from 1350 to the 1440, we can see that we have some congestion volume, right? And where are we rejecting? We're rejecting right here, the top of the 1440, 1430 area. Okay, so ultimately we need to clear this right here. If we can clear this area, which it happens to be that 1460 area, an area that I've talked about multiple times, 1460, 1460, 1460. We did break it pre-market for a little bit, but we are right back under it again. Okay, so during market open, during when the candles are fully, when the market is open, if we can get back above 1460, there's not much volume up here. Okay, there's not much buyers, so there's going to be not much sellers, and shorts are going to have a hard time covering. And that's why we're going to kind of get a push if and when it does get above that 1460. So that's what your volume profile is pretty much telling you. Once these valleys are over and you're above those lines, then it opens you up because there is not enough trading volume or not enough shares exchanged for you to kind of have any resistance ultimately, right? That's what I hope that answers your question. So yes, in a way, if you get past that hump, you do have room to move, but ultimately you need to see what's above you, right? So in an instance down here, once we got above that 10, the next area that we would have saw resistance was that 1460 area, and we did see the resistance right here on it. So someone's asking about Riot. I'll put this on the chart just so people can see it. So Riot, again, coming into the 200-day moving average, below but below the major two moving averages. Once it broke this, everybody was asking me, do I dip buy? Should I buy Riot? Oh my God, do I dip buy? This is golden. It dipped so much, I need to buy it. I said no. And look what happened. Bam, pop up to 20, reject, fall right down to the 200-day moving average. Do you buy Riot here? Ultimately, again, it's not a short-term trade. You could start positioning right here at the 200-day moving average, have room for the 1650 area, and because it's Riot, because it's a crypto name, you're gonna want to give it room. You don't want to load everything, all your ammunition right here at the 200-day moving average, because if it pulls down, you're gonna be in trouble, and then you're gonna be sweating down here, and you're gonna want to sell for a loss, and that's when buyers are gonna step up and pull this thing back up. Okay, so start slow, average in, and then when you get a decent average, you can pop it back up and ride the wave higher. Okay, but have a plan. Just because it hit $79 doesn't mean that if it comes down to 10, it's going to go back up to 80. Okay, that's not how charts work. So understand that. Don't trade it in the short term. Scale in and give yourself room to add. What's your advice to the new guys? Paper trade, read charts, and understand why you're taking a trade. Don't just trade blindly. Really figure out, hey, why did this happen? Why should I trade this? Why am I taking this trade? And think about your stop versus your profits. Don't look at your profits. Worry about how much money you're gonna lose, and then the profits can take care of itself. Okay, so when you worry about your downside risk and you understand how much you can lose going into it, you're gonna be better off in the long run. MVIS. Guys, if you stuck around but this far, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button, and remember that every Thursday I do go live on YouTube at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. You guys can come in here and ask questions if you need. All right, so we'll do 2 more and then I gotta head back into the room here. So again, MVIS, a very sideways chart. Poor thing, every time it pops up it just gets smashed. Not something I would trade on the short side. Again, very range bound. If it does come down to that $10 area, you could try it for a move back up to the 850. But obviously we can see that there's nice volume congestion here, and that's exactly where everything is being traded. Ultimately above that $16 area, maybe can see a room towards the 19. Thanks so much. Thoughts on Shibu and Ainu? I don't really ever trade those cryptos, to be honest, so I can't help you with that. Roku and SQ. So Roku to me looks a little bearish, but right now popping up to 325, under the 20-day and the 50-day moving average. Let's see what it does. Ultimately I want this thing to see, so it's above the 321 on the 5-minute chart. Okay, so if we can pull back and hold this 321 area, I do want this to pop back up towards the 329. So ideally, let's get a pop back down towards a pull back down to the 320. See if this level can hold. Then you can kind of go long for a day trade. Stops right under 320. Okay, it's just gonna go off without us. So let's take a look at SQ. SQ, that 200 area is again a resistance. Now we're popping back above it. Okay, so ideally here we need to keep an eye on the Qs and the SPY. SPY is above 411 right now, and can't really see my QQ chart right now. QQ is above that 323 as well, coming up above the 324. If we can hold above those lines on the QQQ and the SPY, and we can get the SQ to pull back down towards the 202 area, find a nice basing, and then we can go long towards the 206 and ultimately that 207, 208 area. Okay, so extended from the support line, we needed to pull back before making any trade on it. All right, guys, again, thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate it. Everyone, let's show our support and his value him. Subscribe and hit the like button. Robert, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you guys haven't done so already. Smash the like button, and I will catch every single one of you guys here next week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for watching, and peace.